Before I get into this video, I would just like to remind everybody that if you would like to support me and the channel, you can contribute to my Buy Me a Coffee page. You could do a one-time donation for as little as $1, or you could sign up for the $5 a month membership, including perks such as having your name listed in my videos as a thank you, and being sent an exclusive list of recommended readings. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Throughout historical discussion, it is often that studies concerning the Soviet Union and socialism in general contain a substantially right-wing bias. The fog of the Cold War still lingers over the eyes of many, with a great number to this day perpetuating and inflating McCarthyism in their respective articles, lectures, memes, and other such outlets. The anti-communist bias, displayed so frequently by historians and others, only furthers Cold War propaganda, fanning the flames of the vehement anti-Soviet, anti-Stalin, and anti-communist paradigm. This video series serves to place a critical lens on the status quo of Soviet studies and discussion, a look at the mythos and the reality of statements made against Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin, and the Soviet Union as a whole. This video series serves to address the truth. The blatantly anti-communist narrative pushed by bourgeois scholars and historians, among others, is so often accepted as fact without a single bit of skepticism, something that this series, at least in some capacity, aims to change. The bourgeois and anti-communist mythos against the Soviet Union finds its rise early, coinciding with the times of Vladimir Lenin and the aftermath of the Revolution of 1917. One of the many misconceptions regarding Lenin and his time as a revolutionary is that throughout the whole of his work, Lenin considered one Leon Trotsky to be his right-hand man, and that Trotsky was positioned to serve as Lenin's successor following his death in 1924. This line of thinking has been pushed by anti-communist and bourgeois historians, along with those who follow the Trotskyist line of socialism, designed to undermine Stalin and act as a further portrayal of Stalin as a power-hungry monster. There is no denying that Lenin and Trotsky indeed worked together at various stages of revolutionary struggle. Trotsky's presence in the Red Army during the stages of the October Revolution is evident of that enough. However, many make the mistake of painting Trotsky's presence as a strong kinship between himself and Lenin. Though there is no documentation wherein Lenin outright states that he dislikes Trotsky, the actions of Trotsky and the myriad of criticisms Lenin has made against Trotsky's actions and theories show that Trotsky was in no way Lenin's right-hand man. Trotsky's divisive and factionalist tendencies were becoming apparent long before the days of the Moscow trials and long before his time in exile. Throughout his time as a figure in Russia in the lead-up to the revolution, there were many a time where Trotsky's sense of superiority, along with his inconsistency in his political convictions, earned him the scold of Lenin for various reasons. It was often that Trotsky's actions and his writings on theory, parties, and international movements sparked these critiques of both character and ability. An integral aspect of Leninist theory is the adherence to the right of nations to self-determination. Essentially, though please correct me if I misunderstand, the idea that nations have the right to cessation from an oppressive government. The idea of the right of nations to self-determination is one that in 1903 was up for excessive debate between the Russian and Polish Marxists, with Polish and Russian parties debating the necessity, dynamics, and application of such ideals. To put it simply and quickly, in 1906, the Polish Marxists found themselves in agreement with the Bolshevik concept of self-determination, thus joining the party and adhering to its program. Not once, when joining or since joining, did they seek to amend or alter the Russian program of 1903. Over a decade later, it was Trotsky who, in misrepresenting readers of Rosa Luxemburg, spread as a contributor for the magazine Barba what was a malicious distortion of the Polish Marxists' actual position. In this publication, Trotsky claims, and I quote, "The Polish Marxists consider that the right to national self-determination is entirely devoid of political content and should be deleted from the program. Lenin, upon reading such a statement, would go on to critique, attack, and effectively call out Trotsky for such writings. Lenin referred to Trotsky as more dangerous than the enemy, and even mentions Trotsky's affection for petty gossip when addressing the faultiness of his evidence. Lenin states, Trotsky could produce no proof except private conversations, i.e., simply gossip on which Trotsky always subsists, for classifying Polish Marxists in general as supporters of every article by Rosa Luxemburg. Further criticisms of Trotsky as a person and political activist would bring a display of the inability of Trotsky to hold a continuous and firm position. As Lenin says, Trotsky has never yet held a firm opinion on any important question of Marxism. He always contrives to worm his way into the cracks of any given difference of opinion and desert one side for the other. Trotsky as a theoretician came under scrutiny, with Lenin describing Trotsky's theory of permanent revolution as something that is not original and merely borrows certain aspects of Bolshevik theory and attempts to intertwine them with Menshevik theory. On the topic of party organization and class alignment, Trotsky's analysis of the peasantry and the peasant question is shown to be incorrect, with what is described as the repudiation of the peasant classes. In colloquial terms, Lenin essentially said that nobody cared about Trotsky's quote-unquote original theory. As stated, this task is being wrongly tackled in Nasze Slovo by Trotsky, who was repeating his quote-unquote original 1905 theory and refuses to give some thought to the reason why, in the course of 10 years, life has been bypassing this splendid theory. What Trotsky fails at is recognizing the necessity of the peasantry in the revolution, and his repudiation of them weakens the revolutionary forces, and serves as a quote-unquote refusal to raise up the peasants for the revolution. Trotsky's faulty analysis of the peasant question, along with his lies about the Polish Marxists, displays early signs of his factionalist tendencies and his ineptitude at formulating a proper revolutionary theory. So this concludes the first video in this series that I'm doing, where I'm just going to be analyzing and debunking misconceptions and false narratives surrounding the Soviet Union. I know, there's a whole bunch of different videos about this from big people in TreadTube, BreadTube, whatever you want to call it, but I just want to make, videos that are like 10 minutes or less on these subjects so that they're more accessible, because I've seen a lot of videos about this kind of stuff, and then they end up being, 20, 30 minutes. So just, I just want to make something a little more accessible in terms of length for people to use as reference and to study and all that kind of stuff. And just as a reminder, if you'd like to support me and the channel, you can contribute to my Buy Me a Coffee page for as little as $1. Gonna be frank, I am having a few financial issues here and there. So, I understand that with the holidays coming up, money's going to be tighter for a lot of people, but any contributions, any help would be extremely appreciated. Next time in this series, I am going to be covering Lenin's Testament and Stalin's rise to power. My name is Jymee. Thank you for watching.